We're following developments in London overnight where a man has faced court over a frenzied and apparently random stabbing attack on an 11-year-old Australian girl. The girl and her 34-year-old mother, believed to be from New South Wales, were in the popular tourist spot Leicester Square on Monday when the attack happened.
The girl suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. A 32-year-old man who is not known to the pair has been remanded in custody, charged with attempted murder. Europe correspondent Catherine Diss has more from London.
This was a shock, brazen attack in broad daylight in a very popular area of central London where many people go, particularly during the summer, and also it's a massive tourist hotspot. We now know that the 11-year-old girl who was allegedly stabbed 8 times whilst being held in a headlock is an Australian citizen. That has been confirmed by the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, which has also told us that it is giving the family consular assistance. We also now know that the girl was with her 34-year-old mother at the time of the attack, and the ABC understands that the family, who we believe are on holiday in London at this point in time, are from New South Wales. The girl was taken to hospital for her injuries. She received serious but non-life-threatening ones. She received plastic surgery but has since been released from hospital. And there was also concern in the initial hours that her mother had also been injured in the attack, but police have confirmed that it was her daughter's blood that had been mistaken for her own. We've also managed to catch up with the brave security officer who rushed to her aid. We went out to his neighbourhood in northwest London today, where he described for me how events unfolded that day.
I heard a scream. I saw outside there was a guy who was stabbing a girl. So as I saw them stabbing the girl, I started running towards the guy. I jumped on the guy, hold his hand in which he was carrying a knife. I tackled him down on the floor and then kicked the knife away from him. At that time, there was only one thought: to save the kid, to save her mom, nothing else.
Gee, an act of incredible bravery. Now, we know Leicester Square is such a busy tourist destination, Catherine. How are people feeling?
Yeah, look, we went out there today, Michael, and spent some time speaking to both locals and also tourists. Many were anxious and nervous. Some weren't too worried at all, thinking that these sorts of things don't happen all that often. But we spoke to a couple of 15-year-old girls who told me that they no longer feel safe going outside alone, particularly given this attack happened in broad daylight. And it's important to remember that 2.5 million people visit Leicester Square and this area of central London every single day. Let's take a listen to those girls.
It's a bit shocking for it to be like right in central London where there's lots of people as well, right? So it's just a bit sad that kids like under our age have to go through that as well.
I feel like people just are really worrying because like usually you see stabbings and stuff happening in like dark places with lots of people, and usually when you're around other people you're meant to feel like safer because you know something's happened, like they can help you. So when something like that happens where there's so many people around, it just feels like where can you go that is going to be safe?
We also have, Michael, more details about her alleged attacker. He's a 32-year-old man. His name is Anan Patari. The court was told yesterday that he is a Romanian national with no fixed address. He wasn't required to enter a plea yesterday and has been remanded in custody to appear in court again next month. Police here saying that they think this is a random attack and they don't believe it is terrorist related.
Catherine Diss there. Well, families of missing and murdered First Nations women and children are hoping they'll be one step closer to justice today as the report from a years-long Senate inquiry is tabled in Parliament. For more on this, our political reporter Oliver Gordon joins us now. Oliver, what can you tell us, especially that this report follows what was really a 2-year-long Senate inquiry?
Hi Lisa, so a really important report set to drop later today, set to be tabled in Parliament later today. It's looking into missing and murdered Indigenous women and children, and as you mentioned, it follows a 2-year Senate inquiry which had 87 submissions and 5 public hearings across a number of different states and territories across the country. At these public hearings, we heard some really harrowing stories of people missing loved ones and then authorities not following up on those reports, dismissing their concerns, or even not believing them at all. Indigenous WA Green Senator Dorinda Cox passed the motion to get this Senate inquiry underway years ago. This is a person who has lived experience of trauma and violence in her family as well. At one point, she singled out the WA police force for not showing up to a public hearing as part of this Senate inquiry process. Really, this has been a constant theme. Authorities or law enforcement not taking this issue seriously enough. We've seen some advocates call for a royal commission into this issue because a royal commission would have more power than a Senate inquiry. But really looking to see the reports, recommendations tabled at 4:30 in Parliament today. Lisa.
Absolutely, and we will have more on this tomorrow morning's program as well. If you are a First Nations person and this story has raised concerns for you, dedicated support is available by calling 13 Yarn. Lots of news around today. Bridge is here with
Hello, Lisa. Hello, Michael. Yeah, look, sad news from South Australia because 2 men have died after a boat capsized off South Australia's Kangaroo Island. Police were called after the upturned vessel was spotted off the coast of Cassini yesterday afternoon. Emergency teams located the boat a short time later and 2 bodies were recovered from the water nearby. Investigations into the deaths are continuing. Safe Work SA has been notified. The World Health Organisation has declared the mpox virus a public health emergency of international concern, the highest level of alarm under international law. More than 14,000 mpox cases have been reported this year, particularly in the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighbouring countries, with 524 people dying from the disease so far. Steve Robson of the Australian Medical Association says while Australian mpox cases are locally acquired, the situation is volatile.
Fortunately for us, there is vaccination available for mpox, but this needs to be watched very, very carefully. And as we've seen in Africa, things can turn on a dime and we can have a situation that was in control suddenly spiral out of control.
The Insurance Council and the Planning Institute of Australia are set to meet in Brisbane today to discuss solutions to reduce risk for homes in flood zones. The industry bodies say action needs to be taken to ensure potential home buyers are well informed about such risks prior to purchasing. The groups will also discuss other recommendations, including enhanced building standards and development restrictions. The South Australian Government will introduce laws to criminalise the creation and distribution of sexually explicit images of real people created by AI without consent. It claims the prevalence of these deep fake images has increased by as much as 550% year on year since 2019. The SA Government has asked for community input on how best to tackle the issue.
More than 90% of deep fakes created are sexually explicit in nature, and of those, 99% are of women and girls. So it really does need policymakers, lawmakers like us to step in and do something.
And former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has walked off stage at a public event where she was speaking after a banner featuring a lettuce and the words "I crushed the economy" was slowly unfurled above her. An activist group called Led by Donkeys claimed responsibility for the stunt in Suffolk. Ms Truss responded to the prank on social media, saying it wasn't funny and was done to suppress free speech.